Welcome back once again, everyone. Tonight I've got a great toy review for you guys. This is Power of the Prime's Titan class Predaking. This is a figure that I've been waiting on for a good while, ever since his initial leak, the unauthorized leak that Hasbro took down very quickly. Tonight I'm going to be joined a little bit, hopefully he'll be on his best behavior, by my son, who's been begging me to let him be in a video. He has a YouTube channel that he calls Destroyer of Earth.
All capitals.
All capitals. So, I'll put a link to his channel if you just want to check him out. Especially if you have kids that like watching like other kids play. You know, he does a lot of Transformer stuff and other things. He does Minecraft, typical kid stuff. So, obligatory shout out for him, just so he stops bugging me about it. But anyway, staying on track. Here we have this massive box, which it's hard to tell maybe from the...
and it's awesome.
And it's awesome. Down, Boba. See, this has this just massive picture of Predaking right there. I'm going to spoil something for you guys. The toy doesn't look quite as cool as that picture.
Yeah, it doesn't have those claws.
Yep. Thanks for spoiling that much. All right, but yeah, you'll see how the hands are radically different and disappointingly so. Wings aren't nearly as big. So it's definitely a very stylized picture. Either that or they made this back when it was like a prototype phase that maybe had these things included. I don't know. Not like Hasbro would ever tell us either way. But yeah, you can see it shows the 5 Predacons right there, and they are described as being Voyager class, which size-wise, yeah. Like Devastator, not so much in the articulation department. Up here in the corner, it shows his special edition Prime Master, and this is Onyx Prime. And so far, unless maybe they reveal something here next week at the Comic-Con, this seems to be the only actual release of Onyx Prime. Even though, this is supposed to be the special edition version, there doesn't seem to be a regular version of him out there. Maybe they'll surprise us, but given how close we are to the end of this toy line, I'm kind of doubting it. But yeah, awesome artwork on the box. Maybe hard to tell from the picture, but Predaking himself is actually raised up a little bit and is a little glossier than the rest. Which is very cool. If you're one of those inbox collectors, you'll really like that. Here it shows the poster that comes with, and I'll show you guys that in a moment. You can also see that they have little other Transformers fighting against him in the background and foreground. I can make out specifically here's Jazz, and there is what appears to be Outback. These other two, I can't quite place them. They may just be generics. If you can figure out who they're supposed to be, go ahead and let me know down below. Maybe I'm mistaken there. Here's the top of the box. Has all 5 Predacons in the robot mode and just their names there. See some wear here on the top. Actually came like this. The shipping box. I was kind of disappointed about that. The side just has a nice little segment shot of Predaking. Other side, nothing special. It's got the 12 Prime Master symbols there. Bottom, Power of the Primes logo. Got to hold the camera up here. But this is the back of the box. See, they orient it the tall way, which is kind of annoying for trying to film. But you can see the full combiner there, showing off his Prime Master compatibility. Shows each of the members there. Shows that he is indeed 18 inches tall, or 45 centimeters for you non-US types. The description you can see, it's Predaking has hunted many things, but this may be his greatest bounty. An ancient relic that bestows beast power beyond imagination, the Onyx Matrix. So that's kind of neat how they put some backstory there to explain why he has, like Onyx Prime, but also a Matrix holder. Sadly, none of the actual fiction goes into any of that. That would have been kind of a cool avenue to explore, but oh well. Right, here's the instruction book. You can see it's a pretty good size. Unfolds long ways here, as you can see. Two-sided, so very detailed, and using orange to highlight things makes it kind of easy to see. It's interesting to note that they did use orange in these instructions because the typical colors they use are red for Autobots and purple for Decepticons. In fact, the last time they did orange on these instructions was back in Transformers Prime, when they had the Predacon faction from that series, which were very different from these G1 Predacons, but it is interesting how there's that correlation there. That, a few years later, completely different continuity, they're still using orange for Predacons. So I found that to be a neat touch. Here's the sticker sheet that comes with it. You can see I've already applied all the stickers, but just to give you an idea of just how many there are. They're all foil stickers, very shiny. And how many stickers were there?
87.
87 stickers on this thing. About half of which are just the ones for Predaking / Dive Bomb's wings. So this took me a hot minute to apply. In fact, it held up this review a day because it took me just forever to get those stickers on. And then by the time I was done, it was like 1 in the morning. So, blame the stickers for this getting out a day later than normal. All right, and here we have the poster that was called out on the box. And has, kind of a different cropping of the image we saw. It's taller, so you can make out more of Outback here, but it's less wide, so you can't see that other generic off to the side there. So, kind of win some, you lose some. It's got the Onyx Prime symbol, which makes sense because he comes with Onyx Prime. And what I love is that even though it's a poster, it's done up in the style of the collector cards that the smaller figures come with. So I thought it was really neat. It's kind of the best of both worlds. It still thematically matches those cards, but it's a full-size poster. And then on the back, whereas those cards have, one Prime Master and then what power they give the guy, this is just a full chart of all 12 Prime Masters. And then even though it says, Onyx Predaking, Liege Maximo Predaking, it doesn't actually call out what abilities that they give Predaking himself. It just kind of points out their general description. Onyx, being the Beast Prime, Liege Maximo is a trickster, so on. So very neat. All right, and finally we have the Predacons themselves. And because they're packaged in beast mode, we're going to start them off in beast mode. And these Predacons that we have are Headstrong, the Rhinoceros, Razorclaw, the Lion, who's the leader of the group, Dive Bomb, the Eagle, I believe, Rampage, the Tiger, and then lastly we have Torox, the Bull, formerly known as Tantrum. I guess they couldn't secure the copyright to Tantrum anymore, so they changed him to Torox, which not a terrible name, but I'm just going to call him Tantrum. So there. These guys look, pretty good as an ensemble. I do find it weird that Dive Bomb is kind of the largest of the group in beast mode. It kind of dwarfs Razorclaw, who's supposed to be the leader, but logistically there's reasons why that has to be that way. And I don't know, I think as far as these beast modes go, I'm going to say Dive Bomb's probably my favorite, but I don't know. Which one do you like the most?
I would say Razorclaw.
Razorclaw?
Yeah,
like
he's my favorite.
Why do you like him the most?
Because he's a lion and he's one of my most favorite animals. And look at the plates on this.
Yeah.
Oh, I moved it up.
Okay.
And look at the nose, it's gold.
Okay. All right.
And
All right, we don't need a novel.
Okay.
Good. Got it. You like Razorclaw. Moving on. All right, we're gonna just kind of look at each of these guys individually, first in their beast modes, then we'll transform them, and you guys know the drill by now. All right, let's start with that. First, we're gonna move to Headstrong. Get a good look at him. He's very sturdy looking. He's got not a whole lot of stickers. He's got 2 stickers on each shoulder, the Decepticon symbol, and this little bit of, tubing or something or other. 1 on each, thigh. There. And then he's got these on his shoulders. Or I guess it's not his shoulders, but his back. These stickers, they kind of overhang the edge a little bit, so the tips of them tend to not stay very flush, which is annoying, but it's not too noticeable. You can see he's got the giant cannon thing / Predaking's feet on his back, which is actually very accurate to the old toy. The old toy used to just kind of transport that on its back too. This guy doesn't have much in the way of articulation. His head can rotate this way. His front legs bend at the elbow. And then his rear legs can move about here and there. That's about it. You can obviously detach this cannon thing if you'd like. And you can see these square holes here actually attach onto these little like square hollow pegs, which I'm not crazy about because these are painted, and I feel like if you attach them enough times, you know, you're going to start scraping the paint off. Oh, and also more stickers right here, which look very nice. Gold. There's a D77 on it, which I believe is the Japanese numbering for Headstrong. I think all these guys have some sort of sticker with their D designator on there, so it's neat. You can see he's got this like belly kill thing, which is one of Predaking's thighs. Doesn't look too unsightly. Kind of fits his proportions well as a big thick rhino. This will end up looking a lot worse in robot mode, and you'll see that here soon. But yeah, he's pretty much a direct upgrade of the original toy. You know, complete with low articulation and boxiness. But if that's what you're looking for, he's got you covered. Also worth pointing out, his horn is made of the same hard plastic as his head, which is really surprising because it's actually pretty pointy. Like, you can put an eye out with this thing, and given how obsessed Hasbro is, you know, or I can't really say Hasbro's fault, but just the modern toy industry, they, you know, tend to shy away from pointy bits like that, or at least make them soft plastic. So, surprising. I'm not upset. I mean, this is kind of primarily marketed as a collectible item anyway, so, you know. Plus, you know, if the son over there gets out of line during this video, I got something to calm him down. Here's Headstrong's robot mode. And it's pretty faithful recreation of the original toy. He's got his goofy, I don't know, rhino face cone head thing going on. You can see he's rocking his double barrel cannon on the shoulder, and it does actually physically like latch onto the shoulder there, so he's not just holding up all this weight with his arm. So that's good. You don't like wear out these ball joints, which, God, I wish they'd move away from ball joints and big figures. It's not going to hold up well over the years. And ratchets, man. Ratchets are the way to go. But anyway, obviously you can choose to have him wield this or not. One thing I want to point out, you can see Predaking's hands being stored inside of these. That's where they go when he's not in combiner mode. And it's pretty flush, so that's good. And also, these do have stickers on them, so it's worth pointing out too. Very nice, shiny silver stickers. But anyway, Headstrong himself, much more posable than his beast mode. He's got full range of articulation in his shoulders and elbows due to the ball joints. Nice ratchets in his hips that can go pretty much every which way. Swivel there. Bends at the knees on a nice ratchet. And his ankles can go forward a little bit, but then they also have this really nice inward ankle tilt for, you know, A-stance posing and all that. And now for the part that everyone hates about him and Torox. Oops. Aside from flopping over. The back. Because he has a massive robot thigh on his back. And it looks... Not only does it just look really bad, but it's very impractical because he has... My son's cracking up over this. He has no backwards leg movement. It just blocks him. So, like, his posability is severely limited by that big, giant, black, just block hanging off the back of him. This is... this is one of the reasons that I felt that Predaking should have been a normal Scramble City style and size combiner like the other combiners in the line. Not only would that have given him the ability to, you know, mix and match parts with the other combiners, which would have been, you know, more than feasible, would have eliminated this, you know, eliminated trying to make all members of the group the same exact size and, you know, shift combiner parts around to other members where they really shouldn't be. But oh well, you know. Obviously Hasbro knows better than I do. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself. Aside from the really bad backpack, everything else about this guy is just fine. I will say, and probably should have mentioned this in his beast mode, but, you know, he got his robot face kind of under his rhino chin. There's no way to cover this up in his beast mode. It's just out there. So if, you know, he had him in his rhino mode and you were to just flip him up, you'd see a robot face. And that is accurate to the original toy, but I feel in 2018 they could have found a way to cover this up, because that definitely detracts from the beast mode. We're gonna go ahead and just look at Torox too while we're at it, because he and Headstrong are essentially retools of each other. They do have differences and all that, but they utilize like the exact same engineering in their transformation, posability, all that. So he's a bull. Does all the same things that Headstrong does. Carries big cannon thing on his back. And pretty sparse for stickers too. In fact, I think he has even less than Headstrong. He's got Decepticon symbols on his shoulders. And he's got the gold D78, or sorry, 76 stickers right there on his back. So there's that. Here's robot mode for Torox / Tantrum. And no surprises from old Headstrong, because they are, pretty much the same guy at this point. Same weapon, same posability, all that stuff. The weapon does get in the way of him turning his head very far because of his horns there, but no big deal. Transform into robot mode does reveal 2 new stickers on his robot mode shins here. You can see these little square stickers. I hate the way they set on here. They don't set very flush at all, because there's all this molded detailing underneath them that prevents them from having a nice flat surface to rest on. So something that concerns me for the future. Not the likelihood of these peeling off later. Same ugly back kibble, but if we've already accepted that, moved on, then it won't bother you. Looks as good and as bad as Headstrong does. Next we'll look at Rampage, and he is a tiger. Has a bit more in the way of posability than the other two, but not much. Basically his mouth can open and shut, like that. Head can look down a little bit. Legs bend, ankles bend here, ankles bend here. This like knee joint, I guess you want to call it, is actually kind of pegged into place. You can untab it to get him to bend his legs if you want him to. Not as kibbly as the other guys. See, he's got some stickers, some here, some here. Got his Decepticon symbols a little bit here. Got his D74 stickers right there. And his tail is actually his robot mode gun. So that was a good way to utilize that. Make him a little more anatomically correct while we're at it. He has some stickers here. And these ones drive me nuts. He has kind of the same issue that Headstrong does, where stickers are supposed to bend over an angle. And they will. And it looks like they stay adhered, but you walk away from this thing for 5 minutes, come back, and they're going to look like that again, where that top bit is just sticking off. And no matter how long I just sit here and hold these things down, they will always inevitably pop back up. I'm thinking about maybe super gluing that bit down, but I'm hesitant to put any sort of substance on these. But, we'll see. So he looks good overall. Like his sleekness. The one thing I'm really not crazy about with this beast mode is his head is always tilted down. He can't look up any further than what he's doing right now, which, it kind of makes it always look like he's just always staring at the ground more than anything else. But aside from that, he is, one of the ones I like more out of their beast modes. Yeah, I dig it. Here's Rampage's robot mode. He's very, very red, which, and while accurate to the original, I feel they could have done something to break up the color a little more. It's almost impossible to even really tell the red from the orange on him. He does have painted eyes. They're kind of hard to see because of his very sloping brow, but they're there. They look good. I think it's painted black. Wields his little cannon there. It's got pretty much all the same articulation the other guys have. Ball joints,
Whoa.
ratchets and swivels. He dropped his gun because he does not hold it very tightly. It's got a 5mm peg. He's got 5mm holes in his fists there. And it'll go in there, but it's very easy to knock out. And he and the other two that hold their guns with these pegs have an issue holding them. I'm not sure exactly why that is. Why they all, I don't know, just have issues fitting those, but oh well. Remember those stickers I talked about? You saw me push them down a moment ago? Well, see, they're already sticking back up. So that's really annoying. And it does concern me with like transforming him and moving parts and all that they might get scraped off or something. Oddly enough, just like his beast mode, his robot mode head is always kind of looking down. Just the way that it sets. Like it doesn't have an ability to look up any further than that. So I don't know what the common theme is here. I guess he's just the depressed one of the group. He does have some pretty gnarly back kibble. Not quite as bad as the other two, but it sticks out a little too far for my liking and doesn't look natural. But he is a very dynamic looking guy. Like I said, only real issue I have is the colors. I just wish they weren't so samey looking. Now we've got Dive Bomb. Like I said, he's kind of huge compared to the other ones. His wings can move at the shoulders and flap a little bit. The wing tips can fold all the way in, fold all the way out, kind of lock into either position. I like to have them kind of halfway there. Looks more natural. He's very, very backpacky looking. And despite his back heaviness, he actually stands up very well. Even if he's not all bent forward like this, he'll still stand up, so that's good. He's got some nice stickers there on his shins. Got his big red D75 stickers on the sides of his legs, which I find really nice. See, he's got these cannons attached to him, but they can come off if you don't like the way it looks. They just unpeg very easily. And he's very clean looking, despite this backpack bit here, but this part does end up kind of coming off looking like tail feathers, so works pretty well. His head is somewhat decently articulated. The neck can pivot like this, and you can kind of, it doesn't peg in, but there's like a little groove that the base of his neck rests in. But if you lift it slightly out of that, you can get him to turn his head left and right. His mouth can open, but I wouldn't recommend posing him that way because it's got a face in it. It looks really weird, but it's up to you. And his feet, I haven't pegged together, but you can separate them if you want to. Though it doesn't do much good because they're so short and stubby. Though there is ankle tilt. All of these guys have ankle tilt, which is amazing. So yeah, that's why he's kind of my favorite. He's just the one I have the least amount of issues with overall. I know a lot of people didn't like this one when Predaking was revealed. They hated the way he looked in this bird mode. I guess having never owned the original, maybe I just can't relate. But I think he looks fine overall. I think maybe just the early pictures didn't do him justice, made his head look too tiny. I do like the gold stickers on the feathers. There's a nice detail. These are also a monumental pain to put on and accounted for most of the time that I spent applying them. And they are like the exact size of the space they're supposed to go on. So if you have any inaccuracy applying these things, it shows. And they'll be like overhanging on the edges. And I had to kind of fiddle with and reapply some of these to get them just right. It was a real pain. But the end result is really nice. You know, the mixture of black and like chromatic gold is just very eye-catching. Here's Dive Bomb's robot mode. And now he's wielding his two long cannons in each hand. So it's pretty cool. He gets to dual wield a little bit. I like his, bird helmet motif he's got going on there. This is a little finicky because if you like bump it at all, it kind of like messes it up and it's got this weird detached head thing going on. But in most cases it should look all right. The head can rotate around, look up and down a little bit, which again, you probably have to readjust his face after you move his head, but not a big deal. This mode does reveal some new stickers on his shoulders, which I am ashamed to admit I applied upside down. So I'm kind of stuck with that now because they're down in these grooves. I have no way of gently peeling them back up and fixing it. So I'll just be forced to forever hate myself now. But yeah, he's got a good looking robot mode, full posability just like the others. Has the added fun of, having fully functional wings, which is nice. Still got the backpack thing going on, but it's not as goofy looking as the others. My only real... Oh my god. Remember what I said about not being able to hold their weapons? Definitely true. My only real criticism is that his legs look really comically short compared to his very long torso. I don't know, he looks very disproportional in that way. Like his growth was stunted. I don't know, didn't eat enough vegetables as a kid. So, think about that. Bah. Eat your veggies. All right, but overall, very happy with his robot mode there. And lastly, we have the leader, Razor Claw, in his lion mode. And he's definitely got the most going on with him as far as like little extra bits and pieces, features, and all that compared to the other ones. See, he kind of stands out for being more yellow than any of the others. His mouth does open and close, which is good. He's got these little like shoulder cannon things here, which just kind of point forward. He's hauling this big like cannon on his back, which you can choose to detach if you want to. He's got the D73 sticker on his thighs there. Got knee and ankle articulation on the back. Then he's got some front leg articulation. Though if you want his guns pointing forward, you pretty much have to keep his front legs posed in that one particular way. He doesn't have a tail, which is kind of odd for a lion. Looks a little weird, but he's got these, I don't know, butt flaps instead. And one really cool thing about this guy is that you can lift his head up, just the face bit here. Doesn't really like to come out very easily, but you lift that up, and that's where he's hiding the quote-unquote Onyx Matrix. So pull that out, take a look at it. So it is the Onyx Prime Master, but it's being held in a matrix holder like the leader class figures have. Just like with those leader class figures, the little core bit comes out. I like how they painted his symbol and everything. It looks very nice. Not sure what it's supposed to be. Kind of looks like a leaf or something. But you can unfold him. And here you can see he's pretty much all orange with black plastic for the thighs and a little bit of black paint on his face there. Still makes really any discernible detail on his face hard to make out. He does have a screw holding his back plate on. So seems to be carrying forward the tradition that the Wave 2 Prime Master started. The first wave had just these rivets, which prevented you from unscrewing these and taking those off. But yeah, nothing special. Definitely not my favorite looking Prime Master, except for the glyph bit. That's really nice, but the robot itself looks pretty weak. Not sure what it's even supposed to be based off of. Here's Razor Claw exuding his commanding presence in robot mode. Big fan of the robot mode. He's a little stocky looking. Almost on a chibi level, but at least his proportions are consistent. You can see some new stickers here, just right above his knees, little red ones. Nothing special. Got his big fat cannon here. Shoulder cans point up in this mode, so I guess they're not really utilized. I do really like his head. Has this nice layered look between the mouth plate and the visor and helmet and all that. Very posable. Can go back and forward a little bit. Turns all the way around. He actually doesn't have ball joints in his arms. It's all like swivels. So that's always nice. Swivels and hinges. Ankle tilt, just like all the others. The way his legs transform here, I find very reminiscent of the Constructicons, where you have two halves that just kind of swing down and then connect together. I think it's a good bit of engineering there. I like it. Weak hold on his weapon, just like the last two we looked at. And yeah, I think this is my favorite robot mode out of the 5. Doesn't have a giant backpack, which is a huge plus. And he just looks He's a little on the small side, but he still looks very powerful. Just something I like about him. And then again, I like his colors. I like all that yellow on there. Just makes him stand out. You can still access his Onyx Matrix. You know, it probably looks a little less bizarre lifting up the lion head in this mode than it does in beast mode. It doesn't look like you're, you know, decapitating animals and having PETA come after you. But yeah, definitely like this guy. Here's all our guys together. Just so you can see the team all, you know, formed up, and they look excellent together. Obviously, the color schemes match up because they're part of a team that was always conceptualized as one whole unit. Dive Bomb's no longer the tallest in the group. That goes to our two big heavy hitters here. And the two cat guys, they do look, you know, a little smaller than I would like. And especially Razor Claw being the leader, I feel like he should have some stature about him. But I don't know. Again, problem that could have been solved had Hasbro gone the Scramble City route with these guys this time. But you know, what do I know? So yeah, I do feel Razor Claw is my favorite robot mode. What do you think, bud? Which one's your favorite?
You mean for robot mode?
Yep. Don't take 5 minutes this time.
I would say still Razor Claw.
Still digging Razor Claw? Why?
Yeah.
Just the colors, or?
Because of the gold stuff too.
Because the gold stuff?
Yeah.
I like gold.
Yeah, goldy. Uh-oh.
All right, so now that we've seen all these guys individually, pointed out the pros and cons of each one of them, it's time to combine them all into their mighty Gestalt mode. All right, time for Shaky Cam as I carry the camera around so you can see this very large combiner. I got Predaking in a very neutral pose just so you can kind of take it all in. So you can see here he's got his wings fully extended, making him look very regal. Not as big as they are in the picture, but I don't think they're quite as small for him as some critics have said. I think they're pretty good looking, pretty fine. He's got his signature arm cannon attached there. He's got his two shoulder cannons, which can point up and down a little bit, so that looks nice. One thing I guess worth pointing out for anyone who's used to the old Predaking toy, his limbs are backwards, left to right, compared to the old toy. You know, it used to be Dive Bomb and Rampage were such places, and the other two as well. This new configuration, however, is actually consistent with how Predaking is always portrayed in fiction. So that was kind of something people were, you know, either happy or unhappy about, I guess, just depending on which configuration they prefer. For me, it's not really a big issue either way. Now, while Dive Bomb and Rampage can switch places if you want them to, Torox and Headstrong cannot, just because of the way these pieces are built. They're not reversible, so they are stuck being, you know, their left and right legs respectively. Here's a back view of Predaking, just so you can see what that's like. He is somewhat hollow from the back, but not as bad as it could have been. You know, probably the most hollow bit is right here in the center of his torso. There's really nothing going on there, but he has kind of a little bit of filler with these lion legs sticking in there. Back of the legs look a little empty, but not too bad. I mentioned his hands in the beginning when we were looking at the box, how they just really don't match the artwork, and they don't. They are the most plain, basic robot hands you could pretty much imagine. They don't have the knuckle dusters there. The fingers aren't pointed into claws, which the lack of knuckle spikes I get. Why they didn't make his fingers more claw-like, I don't know. Very empty, hollow hands, very reminiscent of Combiner Wars Devastator, which we'll get to see in a moment. And they have just one point of articulation there within the hand, which is just the four fingers can swing on this hinge, and then also has wrist articulation, just pivots, so that's very nice. Posed him a little bit just to show off some of his articulation. You can see he does have ankle tilt. It's very nice and sturdy. Obviously, you know, hips can move every way they need to. Arms can lift up at the shoulders there, and of course, also rotate. Head obviously swivels, like you would hope. And he even has waist articulation. He can kind of swing around at the waist. Additionally, while the feet can't swing in and out themselves, his leg bits can rotate kind of midway through, like that. So you can point his feet, a little more outward or inward, if you so please. So yeah, Predaking definitely doesn't lack in articulation, despite his size. And he balances very well, mainly due to those massive feet that he has. And on that note, you really just don't realize how massive this guy and his components are to actually get him in hand. I knew they were Voyager size, but it didn't really click to me till I opened the box and just saw those huge foot cannons he has, that I realized just how big this dude really is. The only functional problem I have with Predaking in his combined mode is that the ratchet to raise and lower the Razor Claw arm, not Razor Claw, Rampage, is a lot looser than the Dive Bomb one. The Dive Bomb ratchet is nice and tight. See, it's got a nice crisp click there. So the downside to that is that Razor Claw can't hold up his own weight nearly as well. If you don't balance it just right, it is prone to kind of flopping downward. I'm not sure how widespread that problem is, if it's just me or if it's all the copies, but definitely loses some points there, because something like that for a toy this expensive really shouldn't be a thing. Here's Predaking alongside my son's almost Volcanicus there, just so you can see how he compares to a normal size combiner, and just so you can also see how ridiculous it is that a Dinobot combiner is like going up to this guy's waist. But maybe I've harshed on that point enough. Not really. And here Predaking is next to Devastator, so you can see how these two line up together. They're both marketed at being 18 inches tall, and it's extremely close. They're almost the exact same height when you're going from the floor to the top of their heads there. So yeah, they look very good together. Predaking and Devastator have always typically been seen as the larger combiner, so in this regard it's kind of fitting that they're the same size. Even though Devastator's made of 6 robots, the Predaking still manages to match him in height there. I think Predaking's a much cleaner looking Gestalt. Devastator's he's just all bulk to the point where his head looks almost comically small there. But Predaking definitely, has a lot more symmetry to him. A lot more, it's kind of a slim Predator motif, which works for him because he's just this like world-class vicious tracker type. So yeah, these two will definitely look excellent on my shelf together. So they'll look great on your shelves together too, if you pick them both up. So Bud, which one of these two do you like more?
I would say the Devastator.
You like Devastator more? Why is that?
Because he has this epic gun. Even though I don't like the color purple, he has this crane on his back. You should let them see.
The crane?
Yeah.
There's the crane.
And there's also that window on their shoulder.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, that more or less completes our look at Power of the Primes Titan Class Predaking. Hope you guys found this detailed and informative enough. Hopefully not too many breaks in the review for idle chit-chat there. I know it's a little bit different from the usual. For me, Predaking, he's such an oddball because he does so many things just perfectly and then so many things just very poorly. And I don't know, like, I definitely don't dislike this set at all. I'm very happy we got an updated Predaking. I mean, are there some things I would have liked to see differently? Yes. As I've already mentioned probably too many times in this review, I do wish that he had been done at a smaller scale. to scale with the other combiners, and honestly, Volcanicus probably should have been a Titan class. But that's me speaking from a collector's angle. I also do really understand why, from a marketing perspective, Predaking had to be the Titan class, because Titan classes, being $150 at retail, they're a tough sell. So you got to have it be a character that people really want. And having a brand new unknown combiner as a Titan class, despite the fact that it's the Dinobots, I think Hasbro made the right call from a marketing standpoint. But I definitely would like to see it the other way around. But yeah, as far as the things he doesn't do well, the giant back kibble on the two leg bots there, the really boring and generic hands they use instead of his very cool stylish ones. We couldn't have added that much to the budget to, do something to add some detail to that. The weak ratchet in Rampage's little big shoulder joint there really detracts from the fun and the play. But yeah, those are my only real criticisms of it. Oh, yeah, and he doesn't have a sword. Yeah, that's something that's really sorely missed. In fact, all of the components are supposed to have their own small sword, and then Predaking is supposed to have one massive one. So why they couldn't have engineered like some small swords that combine into the big one probably would have been the best way to go. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it was budget, and that's something that's really, really felt, because any release of this combiner has come with a sword, at least of some kind. So I don't know, big letdown there. All right, but anyway, I mean, and then after those criticisms, I think overall this is a great combiner set. I think it comes together a lot better than the Devastator did, and it could be the fact that they didn't have to work with as many little moving parts and as many individual bots as Devastator, or it could just be a few years have helped their engineering skills to just make something a lot cleaner looking, something that's a little sturdier, holds together better. Overall, as a total package, he looks great. Like, the minor flaws here and there, don't take away from the fact that this is just a very cool, very impressive looking combiner. His colors work. The individual robots, they all look good, minus the kibble thing. Beast modes, a little hit or miss. You can tell these are based off of 80s toys, because they do mimic that brick with a face motif that the original toys had. The fact that he comes with the whole Onyx Matrix thing is a nice little touch. Still not sure if they're ever going to release an individual Onyx, but I kind of doubt at this point. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about this guy. I think he's definitely worth picking up. If you're into the whole third-party add-on kit thing, it's not something I normally talk about, and I don't personally buy third-party, but I did see a really good one out there that does give him bigger wings, gives him the accurate hands, and some other stuff. Gives him a sword, which is nice. So, if that's your thing, you could always pick that up if you want, like, a more definitive edition. I don't know, bud. What do you think? What do you think of this guy overall? You like it?
I still really like the gold stuff. I also like the wings. How they, like, you said that the stickers are the exact same size of the places where they need to go.
You think that's a good thing?
Yeah,
I thought that was a terrible thing. That was like 40 minutes of work.
I know, but that would be cool. Like, imagine that was all of them, but they came with it like that.
Okay, bud.
And I do like the horns, so
like the horns.
Bye.
It's all about them shiny wings and horns.
Don't forget to see Destroyer of Wreck too.
Yep, I'll link his channel there in the description, so you guys can check him out if you want to. All right, so yeah, I think that really just covers everything. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely want to know what you think of the review of the figure. Will you be picking him up? Are you interested in going the third-party route as far as upgrading him a bit? And having said all there is to say, I will see you
next time. everyone.
Bruh. You're not talking till I tell you to talkie. That's going in the bloopers at the end.
Okay, let's redo it. Redo it.
All right.